Okay, so this gonna be my uh, 20 minutes speaking, maybe 30. I uh, used to do the 40, maybe 45 minutes speaking in the past, but like in this return, in this returning back, maybe I'm gonna do it, let me from 20 to 30 for my returning. Uh, yeah, so let's get started. Wait, I don't get it. Like, why this OBS Studio is so laggy? I believe when I oh, it's not. Okay, so just let me find some speech or some news or whatever it is in English for me to read it. But the best thing is that oh, I have it. I'm gonna choose a book. It's gonna be the best. Which one? Let me try to get one. So this one that is beloved of Oxford. Okay, so here I'm gonna try to practice my reading skill. So I'm gonna read the book while checking with this translation stuff. I mean, with this caption, to make me have the best feeling that I can do. So let's get started. Should everybody know? There are a few Vietnamese there are a few Vietnamese novels that have ever been translated into English. This beautiful romance novel, however, is so charming that it deserves to be made available for English-speaking people all around the world. It is a bestseller in its original Vietnamese language, and it has been enjoyed by both the youth Vietnamese readers for whom it was intended and by their parents. The novel is far more than a simple love story. It is a motivational work which demonstrates to Vietnamese youth that they can achieve their dreams as they strive for a better life in their rapidly growing economic society. The author Yu Thu has traveled and studied abroad in Europe for many years and is well educated and versed in many cultures other than her native Vietnam. He has used her experience to spin this wonderful tale of the trials, successes, and romance of a young Vietnamese girl, Kim, who travels to England to study at Oxford University. For the English reader, uh, the novel offers not only a captivating romance portraying young love between different cultures, but also a broad perspective of the culture, economic, and society and social issues currently facing modern day Vietnam. For this reason, the book will be of the interest to not only those interested in a lovely romance story, but to enlighten readers who are interested in learning about the social and economic problems of countries around the world, such as Vietnam through the eyes of a native author. Of a native author. Native author. The surprising school admission. The extremely shy Vietnamese girl very quietly appeared in front of Professor Paley's office door. His assistant, who invited her to enter, had a very bright face, soft nose, and characteristically warm, intelligent eyes. I believe you must certainly be John Wu Tian Kim. I think that I'm gonna miss it headphone though. It's gonna be better to put it off because I don't use any listening stuff much. And he said, he said, pronouncing her name quite outworked, but very charming. You are studying for your master's degree, right? Professor Bailey advised me to give you the study calendar and textbook. Kim suddenly became a different person, cheerfully and fearlessly chatting with the assistant. Her bright, sparkling eyes looking at the thick textbook, textbook of photographs. I really didn't expect the professor to pay so much attention to me like this. Kim said, squeezing the textbook to her chest, as thought, as thought it was a Bible. This was a Bible, which made the assistant, which made the assistant smile. How much must I? How much must I? How much must I pay you for the book of photographs? But what's your name? Can you give me your email address? I asked for a scholarship from a non-government organization, but they only gave me a scholarship for 1 year. Yet, because I arrived here late due to complications with paperwork, the dean of my department said I will have to stretch my studies over a 2 year period. You can't imagine how miserable I've been for several days now. Oh, I can imagine. I'm Fernando Carvajal. The assistant said, smiling. I'm also a foreigner. I came here from Portugal and also completed the master degree program with a scholarship from this country several years ago. Then Professor Pelly made me his primary assistant while I worked as a graduate research student. Here's my business card. You should feel free to ask me any questions. Kim wanted to chat a little more, but Fernando smiled politely and led her to the door. Suddenly suddenly adding as an afterthought, you don't need to pay me at all for the book of photograph. Regard it as a small gift from a small gift from me to wish you more courage. Kim was really moved. She profusely thanked him, thanked him, and then and then stepped backwards until the door shut tightly, and Fernando, with his bright smile, disappeared. A few moments of being comforted over all of these problems made Kim extremely confused. So whenever she met others, she repeated her chorus. She repeated chorus, her her chorus. I only have a scholarship for 1 year, but after arriving here, I learned that I must certainly study for 2 years. You can't imagine how miserable I've been for several days now. She was the type of person that needed attention, and she had immersed herself in the love of her family for so long that she almost never grew up. Yesterday, when Kim presented herself to the dean of her department, he said something terrible that frightened her a lot. You will not be able to complete this master's degree in only 1 short year. That could really only happen if you came from an Asian country that has a developed education foundation like Singapore or Malaysia. You came from an undeveloped country, worse. It is very late for admission. Then Kim gasped utterly, stupidly saying, "So what do you what do you recommend that I do?" He stressed, "Prepare your mind and finance so that if you must stretch your studies over 2 years, you will not suddenly be unprepared." Seeing that Kim did not reply with some silly, morose answer, the dean opened his lip and said, "Many famous universities throughout the world are sometimes compelled to grant degrees to various personalities who have arrived from foreign countries because of diplomacy or politics. However, I don't believe you require a degree granted in a manner. You have in person sought a scholarship to study here and have been accepted to enter this university, so I guess you really want to learn. That's all. Try to manage. I don't see any problems." Kim started to say, "Of course, because that's not at all your problem." But he had gotten up to indicate it was time to see her off, with a broad smile that was both cold and agonizing. Kim entered Minor Street from the economics department of it depressed, not wanting to return to her dormitory, so she wandered into the center of town where there were several colleges that belonged to Oxford University. Kim was surprised to discover that these were 39 of the oldest different independent European schools called colleges, and every college boasts of an ancient and beautiful palace castle with elaborately cave-wooded gates and various tall, majestic towers. Students and professors rode bicycles traveling from college to college, which were connected by the several narrow streets and small stone-lined alleys. Kim knew then that she would enter the various different ancient colleges and have to study hard, with each college dedicated to a different subject, and would not be confined to one college. Kim imagined herself as Harry Potter being admitted to amazing school of witches because of the ancient college with several very small classrooms, various stone stairs, and infinite long corridors. And sure enough, the Harry Potter films were shot at several of the Oxford College. In the church, Kim saw a lot of tourists and groups of high school students being led by professors and groups of professors to sightsee at the University of Oxford. Students had primarily planted in their hearts with the hope that they might enter this famous school to study. Kim sighed, thinking that she had been admitted here to study, but the great pressure now was to leave, having graduated with a degree. Returning to Vietnam later with the reputation of having studied at Oxford but not being able to prove that she graduated, Kim would surely have to forever flee from her country. In the evening at the dormitory, the howling wind screamed constantly and ran into glass windows like heavy stones trying to find a way to enter the room. Kim insecurely went to the window from time to time and looked down at the night sky. The moonlight was bright enough for her to see the trees blending into the wind. Throughout the night, Kim continued to toss about the question, how can I have the how can I have enough money to stay at Oxford for another year? She had put out her effort to get a non-government governmental scholarship and in a parallel and had to satisfy the demands of the famous Oxford University to be admitted. So she could not return to Vietnam without having completed her program. How much effort does she wasted? Dreaming of studying in England had embraced her from the time she was a student in middle school. So she had always tried. So she had always tried to converse in English in those days. And throughout the 4 years of college, she kept searching for a scholarship, but grades were always excellent. Just after graduating from college, Kim still didn't have the opportunity. However, she continued to make requests requests for a scholarship and to be accepted at universities. Then, 3 years after graduating from college, after she had landed a position in prestigious companies, she obtained a scholarship from a non-government organization. Kim was now ecstatically delighted to realize a dream of becoming a student in Europe College. It was a long process that required patience and constant striving, but that dream was only partially completed. The most important thing that was to complete the very difficult course in only 1 year. Kim's family, although realizing that the education was very important, didn't have enough money to support her for a year as a student in England, an area where the cost of living was the highest in the world. Kim's salary after leaving school was just enough for her to save sufficient money to go shopping for some supplies before she came here. Near morning, Kim File answered, "There is only one way. She must finish her studies in 1 year like everyone else. She must make every effort to catch up to her 2 weeks late admission. And she must make the dean of her department see that Vietnamese can also learn as well as anybody else." Then, dead, tired, she entered sleep, dreaming of falling ice, cold bricks, because the dormitory area had a central furnace turned off to economize on fuel. Unluckily, the first bus for Kim was on Saturday morning, coming a day when everyone else was rolled up in blankets lazily sleeping because the professor was too busy to teach except at this time. She put on a very long, thick overcoat, held her bag, carrying with carrying carrying it with clumsily by the handle and walked down into the street. The sky was still dark at 7:30 in the morning with not even a shadow of a person, and all of the stores was closed and quiet, hidden from view by the clouds of night. Kim boarded the bus and was the only passenger on the road leading to the school. When the bus stopped to let the one lonely passenger out in front of the campus department, the sun had a thick gray curtain shyly revealing itself. Kim suddenly felt more enthusiastic as he looked up and peered at the rising sunshine, green of pink rays mixed with strangely beautiful orange one, then stepped into the first lecture hall of Vauxhall, an area where there are many eager young people. The subject had an orange slatted to Cecil's ago and attracted many foreign students. There were smartly dressed Italians, a couple of Russians with reddish hair sitting at the head of the table, three persons speaking Spanish, and few English students with faces filled with freckles and with grabbing yawns that thought they were going to take off forcefully. Everybody appeared dis- discontent, very angry because they had to stay on this day at the end of the week. Okay, so it's about 14 pages, I believe. So I'm gonna leave it over here. Maybe for tomorrow or whatever it is. I'm gonna leave it over here. Maybe for yeah, I've got for tomorrow for me to doing it. For me to do it. So now I'm kind of sleepy now. So I'm gonna go to bed now and see you. Have a good day.